Greetings, folks. This is Ron Weiss Ganji, and welcome to Quick and Dirty Roleplaying. For this video, I want to talk about a document I made on my game design ideas folder titled On Complications. So many tabletop role-playing games provide multiple degrees of success and failure. There are even some that allow for success with complications. It's on this topic that I want to talk about how to fine-tune our ability to eyeball complications. So, as I was working on two dice rolling mechanics that I call the 40x versus 40x method and the 40 fudge method, I got to the point where instead of simply calculating a net value of success, I could also add complications to the value of success that the PC had already achieved. Even further, the PC could increase their success value by taking on more or greater complications. The methodology of doing that is outside of the scope of this presentation. Instead, I wanted to focus on what a complication is and what different tiers of complication represent. So, what is a complication? Within the scope that I'm speaking of, in a tabletop RPG, a complication is a circumstance that imposes a mechanical or narrative impediment upon the player character. Complications can occur as a consequence of a PC's actions, whether they're successful or not. A complication can be the consequence of a PC failing their action roll, alongside or in addition to failing to enact their intentions. Complication potency. So, in this presentation, I want to address 4 tiers of complication potency. The worst being catastrophic, one tier below that being great, one tier below that being solid, and then the least harmful tier, minor. So, even though we can see that a catastrophic complication is the worst, followed by great, then solid, and then finally minor, we're still left up in the air as to what would constitute each tier of complication potency, other than a gut intuition that's finely honed with many, many hours of GMing and of knowledge of real-world precedents. In general, a complication will impose some combination of reduced capacity and reduced agency, the ability to meaningfully do stuff. Here's my attempt at providing meaningful starting points for each tier of complication potency. So, catastrophic complication. An exemplary precedent of a catastrophic complication is one that brings a character or their loved ones from perfect health to the brink of death in one go with a 50% chance of survival. The loss of either their life or the life of their loved one will effectively end their story. If the character's health was already somewhat compromised, a catastrophic complication will kill them. If they manage to survive a catastrophic complication, they would at best be able to rehabilitate up to 75% of their maximum capacity, and only after extraordinarily arduous efforts are taken to do so, spanning multiple sessions. More than likely, however, a character surviving a catastrophic complication will typically rehabilitate from 25% to 50% of their maximum capacity, depending on how much effort the character puts towards their rehabilitation. A great complication. An exemplary precedent of a great complication is the loss of 50% of a character's maximum health, or of their loved one's maximum health, in one go. The effect of this means that the character is at 50% of their current capacity for the rest of the scene before rehabilitation can begin, 75% capacity for the rest of the session before there's a 50-50 chance for rehabilitation to begin, or 87.5% of their current capacity for the foreseeable future up to indefinitely, though complete rehabilitation is twice as likely as that of catastrophic complication. Solid complications. An exemplary precedent of a solid complication is the loss of 25% of a character's maximum health, or of their loved one's maximum health, in one go. The effect of this means that a character is at 75% their capacity for the rest of the scene before rehabilitation can begin, 87.5% of their current capacity for the rest of the session before there's like a 75% chance for rehabilitation to begin, or like a very minuscule loss of capacity, but they'll basically be at like 93.75% of their capacity for the foreseeable future, up to indefinitely. Though complete rehabilitation is twice as likely as that of a great complication. Minor complication. An exemplary precedent of a minor complication is a loss of 12.5% of a character's maximum health, or of their loved one's maximum health, in one go. The effect of this means that the character is at 87.5% of their current capacity for the rest of the scene before rehabilitation can begin, or at 93.75% of their capacity for the rest of the session before rehabilitation can begin. Circle of importance. Another factor to consider the impact of a complication is how the subject affected relates to the character's circle of importance. A circle of importance is simply a ranking system that delineates who or what is most important to the character, who or what ranks below that, and so on and on until the stranger indifference tier. The following ranking system assumes a character that is somewhere around the middle of the selfish to selfless continuum, i.e. someone who looks out for themselves when they can, but not at the risk of themselves, their loved ones, or their reputation, and certainly not at the expense of said things. So first there's the inner circle, which is self, loved ones, or their perfect supporter, such as Bruce Wayne's Alfred. The first ring around that inner circle is for close friends or great supporters. The second ring is for friends or solid supporters. The third ring is for acquaintances or minor supporters. And the fourth ring are for strangers. You can probably add a fifth ring for like enemies or something like that. But as far as circles of importance are concerned, like the people who they don't want hurt, these are like the 5 tiers. Once again, inner circle, first ring, second ring, third ring, fourth ring. So now for blending circle of importance and complication potency to maximize eyeballing. Using the sample circle of importance listed above, or that I mentioned previously, a catastrophic complication cripples subjects in the inner circle, self and loved ones. If a catastrophic complication affects subjects from the first ring and beyond, those subjects will die. If not physically, then in some other way, such as mentally, financially, socially, etc. The further out the catastrophic complication goes within like the character's circle of importance, the more of that ring's subjects will die, at a rate of double the quantity of the preceding circle. So in essence, does the character take on the crippling effects of a catastrophic complication, or do one of their closest friends or greatest supporters die? Do a combination of 2 friends / solid supporters die? Do a combination of 4 acquaintances or minor / minor helpers die? Do 8 strangers die? The logic of incorporating the circle of importance to complication potency is this. A character can pass off the effect of a complication to someone that is not them or their children, but they will have it worse. The less important the subject is to the character, the worse the complication will be to them. As a way to reduce the impact of the complication by 1 tier of potency, double the amount of subjects affected within a ring within a ring or the inner circle. So, say you take a a catastrophic complication, right? What you can do instead is downgrade that potency to a great complication, but it will affect you and a loved one. Let's see. Subject matters to complicate. Now that we know how to assign the potency of a complication and who to affect with a complication, it's time to learn how different subject matters can be complicated besides health and degree of agency. So the subject matters that I took here are basically the quantities that I had mentioned in a previous video where I talk about supermetric, I believe it was supermetric points from the Ascendant game, but applying them to to the subject of complications. So for example, the subject matter is distance. That's a factor within like how it's complicating things. A minor complication can mean that the subject is 20 feet away, like the length of a full-sized car, instead of like right there immediately. Or a solid complication means that the subject is 80 feet away. Or a great complication means the subject is 320 feet away. Or a catastrophic complication means that the subject is at least 1,280 feet away. And the way that I guess distance can be a complication is basically when you have to reach for something, or when something of importance to you is away from you for that distance. Like, oh, you get disarmed, your weapon gets knocked away like 20 feet. Or if you suffer knockback, you suffer that amount of knockback. And then other subject matters include, besides distance, speed, time, weight, density, volume, area, money, information, reputation, and of course health and importance. Also, in essence, one catastrophic complication equals 2 great complications equals 4 solid complications equals 8 minor complications. So like that, you can like mix and match multiple tiers of complications into one result. So for example, if you manage to land a solid blow on your target but incurred a solid complication, you may get fined 10% of your income, which is a solid money complication. Or you knocked over a casket of liquid that spilled over the area of a small bedroom, which is a minor volume and area complication. And that's pretty much the end of the document. If you are interested in checking out like the document in text, just go to my Patreon and become an appreciated trooper, and documents like this and others in my game design ideas folder will be made available to you. If you like or dislike anything you've seen in this video, please give it a like or a dislike and leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to support my channel, and if you really want to support my endeavors, head over to my Patreon and become an appreciated trooper. The link is in the description. Until then, folks, take care and play to find out what happens.